One of my favorite slogans is just do it. By me saying that, you immediately think of Nike, probably, and unfortunately, they're the ones that own it, so no one else can copy it. But just do it is such a good catchphrase, slogan. It's iconic for so many reasons. And when you think of Nike, you probably think of sports, activities, whatever, working out. But just do it, for me, is a whole lot more than that. It's taking those ideas, whatever it is, and just doing it. It's been memed to death, but it is so valuable, far beyond the meme itself of just doing it, because I find something beats nothing. Maybe that can be my catchphrase. Something beats nothing. That's what I find is most valuable when it comes to production, photography, video, film, whatever it is. Something beats nothing. There have been many times, and I'll share some stories with you in this video about what's worked for me and what hasn't. Almost all the time, just doing something always gets the ball going. You start building momentum. You create gravity in a sort of way that just moves things forward beyond anything else, just by the very nature of doing it. A classic example that comes to mind is script writing. If you want to sit around thinking about what something should be, you'll get far more done if you just start writing it down and start scripting it out. The moment it's on the page and the paper is full of something, you start having feedback and ideas and creativity and a brainstorm, and you get that progress, that momentum starts being built in just by the very nature of you writing something down. It could have been anything. It could have been the worst idea in the world, but just doing something is far better than nothing. Staring at a blank page has never sparked creativity or ideas. The classic writer's block. I don't know what to write. Write something and you will be able to improve it. You'll be able to get feedback from others. Doing something beats nothing. Same is true of taking pictures. If you're inspired, you want to be a photographer, don't sit around thinking about all the things you could take pictures of. Start going out there into the real world and doing it. And by doing that, you'll take some bad photos at first, and then you'll realize, oh, I actually need to do X, Y, and Z to make them better. And guess what? You'll actually do X, Y, and Z. An idea that would never have occurred to you in your house, in a bedroom, just thinking about it, only happens by the act of doing it, connecting those dots. It's the stepping stone to the next part of the progress, which is the evolution of getting better and refining. But you have to do it to get there. Far too often, I see people think, well, you need to strategize. You need to map it out. You need to have a plan. You need to have a blueprint. You need to figure it all out before you do anything, because then you're not wasting your time. You're not wasting resources. And then you're optimizing up front. And that maybe has some kernel of truth in there. You should do maybe a little bit of planning, a little bit of preparation. But I think far more comes from the act of just doing it than anything you could plan or brainstorm, because things change, circumstances change. By the time you've mapped it out perfectly, you're 2 years too late. And now the great idea that you had, that you perfected, is no longer relevant. This has happened far too often in my career, working on my own projects and with other people. The consequence of delay and not doing it is almost always greater than the risk of doing it and maybe something bad happens. If you do it with the right intention, if you have good ideas going in, chances are you're not going to mess it up any way too terribly catastrophic. But there's plenty of times where the delay itself, the time it took planning, preparing, getting it perfect, ended up ruining the project altogether. It either never got done, or by the time it was done, it was terrible. Maybe it was a situation of too many cooks in the kitchen, too many ingredients, too many different flavors and aromas, everyone trying to compete with their own personal idea that just ruined the dish. Or it's just the situation of it just came too late. It just took too long to get the thing done. And by that very delay, ended up meaning the demise, the doom of the project itself. All that time, effort was wasted planning, preparing, getting it all set up for perfection, and then it all ended up not mattering anyway. Versus other things that have just been simple. The analogy I like to use is starting seeds. You do something and it's small, it's simple, but you're doing something. You're planting seeds. And from that, you get to see what grows. And then you get to see what you need to water and feed to grow further. And that is the value. That is the beauty of just doing it. Just start. Get it going. because then you'll get to see, oh, is this working? Can I do this better? And yes, inevitably, it's always going to get better. You're always going to perfect it and refine it over time. And you're going to say, oh man, I wish we could have done it this way at the beginning. Oh, how much better it would have been had we just started this way. But the truth is, you missed all the stepping stones in between. It was those stepping stones that got you to that point that you're now forgetting. In hindsight, yeah, everything's easy. In hindsight, yeah, you should always do it perfect from the beginning. But you only know that by going through it. No one has the ability, a perfect prediction. No one's clairvoyant. We can't see the future. We can't predict exactly what's going to happen. So by the very nature of doing it, we learn the lessons we actually need versus just thinking through, what could I do? What should I do? What would work? What won't work? It's maybe a good exercise if you have the time, but to intentionally spend time working in that way hardly achieves anything in the long run versus just doing it, kind of going with the flow, figuring it out, building as it's moving. It is risky. You got to have the right people in the right places to make good choices, but that's almost always better than setting in motion the perfect plan that the moment you start doing it will immediately change, because that's just the nature of it. There's too many variables to account for. It's too dynamic of a world that we live in, where you have to be predictive, but you also have to be reactive, and you can't predict everything that's going to happen. And so having it happening, just doing it, that is the beauty of it. Just do it. It's so simple, and yet far too many people get paralyzed. They get fear, apprehension. They're worried about what's going to go wrong, all the things that might go wrong. Figure those things out, but then just start doing it. Don't wait. Don't delay. Why? Then all the time you're spending, you have to start doing it eventually. So you might as well start doing it now. Whatever it is, big, little, somewhere in between. I have found the most success in my life and my career by having a general idea of what I want to achieve. Yes, having goals, thinking things through, what do I want to do, but then just start doing it. I'm always more productive. I get better results. I'm more efficient when I just start doing it, and I work. That is the process. Doing it is the process of figuring it out. You can't figure it out in a vacuum. You can't figure it out in your brain in a meeting room. It never works that way. You have to put it into action and refine from there. And that feedback loop is what is most valuable. Doing it, the act, those stepping stones, gets you to where you want to go. To where, yeah, in hindsight, you would have done it way different from the beginning. You would have done it perfect from the get-go. But that's retroactive, not something you can predict at the beginning. And that's just how it works. I don't know why it works that way. It is. No one's ever had the perfect plan and executed it perfectly from the day one, where their 10-year plan, it was exactly everything they wanted to do. No, it changes all the time. It changes in the first month. It changes in the first year. It certainly changes in whatever time scale you want. It always changes, and you have to have that reactive mechanism built in. If you're so worried about preparing to be perfect, I don't know, there's some phrase that I'm missing, some colloquial terminology, planning to fail, preparing. There is the failing to prepare is preparing to fail. That is one. But I also think just doing it is so valuable. I'm glad Nike made it what it is, because it is. It's just think, anytime you have an idea or you want to get something done, just do it.